Yes, that's right. Oh, yeah. Might as well. About to go live out here. How y'all doing? I don't know why I'm doing this video, but I might stop it early. I might stop this video if nobody comes in, though. But part of me wanted to just come back and see how people are doing. Hopefully everybody's doing okay. There's this whole there's this whole thing, that's out here. Hello. There's this thing out here, if you can tell, you know, I wanted to do this because, with what's going on with the planets right now and what's going on out in the universe, sometimes as above, so below, right? Right? Different things in the universe, people like to call, whatever's going on with astrology and the birth natal charts. All of a sudden that becomes important again. And one thing I noticed when some people break up, you got people that want to like try to capitalize on the breakup, but you also have people who really want to make it known that they're not the reason for the breakup, right? Have y'all noticed that people come online and be like, he wasn't all that, or they really dress up, they make themselves, and they might do a whole video. I don't know if that guy named Solar did a whole video why he broke up with this other young lady of carbonation. This, how they like to sometimes create relationships within an abusive cult. They like to get together while they're there and get apart. So they come together after this carbonation fizzles and crumbles. In other words, after Nature Boy goes to jail, Nature Boy, who was all of their mouthpieces, a Nature Boy who was all of their mouthpieces, a Nature Boy who was the reason why all of them really were online regularly, his little carbonation thing. We wouldn't know none of these people, right? If he didn't force them to go. So after the cult, they still want to use the online capital. They still want to use the fact that they built up this type of thing with the public. So now, after the group fizzled away, you got Solar and Neytiri coming together after so many people said, what is that? Why is that? And what's really good here? Why in the world, right, would a Neytiri date a Solar? And why would a Solar get together with a Neytiri knowing that Solar still on paper, right, is married to some other woman who I believe is Zoka? Correct me if I'm wrong, y'all, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody in the building? We're here talking about the universe shaking up yet another couple out of carbonation, shaking them up, shaking them apart. And lately, the T had a video where I guess Neytiri was talking about it. And then she brought up how they were both just involved in something very traumatic. They were both, yeah, which is what everybody was saying. So trauma bonding is really real, y'all. Trauma bonding is really real, y'all. And when we're talking about the trauma bonds that were created in carbonation, it's pretty serious, especially their traumatic bond with their leader. The traumatic bond that they had with Nature Boy, Eligio Bishop, gay escort, Tahuti Loose Booty on duty, XYZ. Their traumatic bond with him. spiritual trauma bond with him, spiritually transmitted disease that they caught with him, right? So this idea that these people are goddesses, for example, Nate Terry got to chill with that. You know, a goddess has to be more than just someone who wears a nose ring. A goddess has to be someone more than just wears all these different wigs and all crazy makeup. A goddess has to be something more than just someone who says she's a goddess. Now, I understand with Nature Boy, again, spiritually transmitted diseases, his thing was to give yourself a name, give himself a name that he would have to live up to. That was his thing that he explained. Why he calls himself master teacher or whatever his name was for the day. That dude said it was to give himself something to work towards, and it was to get respect from other people just by calling himself that. Just another reminder that you don't need to go through no education. People just say whatever, right? So we're looking at this young lady, Neytiri, and her marriage or date, side chick status with Solar, who had a wife on paper, which I guess is Zoka. Correct me if I'm wrong. They break up, and it's like, duh. But all I wanted to point out is these are all people who claim to be in touch with their spirituality, which guides everything. If you ask me, somebody's spiritual self, pretty much, if they on point with it, right, it directs them to do everything. You know, and that's what you expect. That's what you look for in every move they make, especially if they announce it. Like you got Kanye announcing that he's a Christian. Well, he better be, you know, every move he makes, he better be acting like it if he's gonna announce it. So you got these people, right, who they broke up, y'all. Now again, this is a trauma bond, which means they still might be involved in the trauma of that cult that they were a part of. You know, sexing each other up doesn't clear out the fog. Sexing each other up, I mean, it worked for other couples, though. It worked for Serenity and Rambo after a while, maybe. They had a baby together, though. It worked with Professor, you know, they gave up the 300,000. They're still together, you know, which is good. Flo and the young lady, Vibes, or whatever her name is. So some people are couples that met each other in carbonation and they're still together today. That's also the same for the brother that was on this channel, Phoenix, and his lady Idris, who got that water park out there. So they break up, y'all, and it's like, wait, weren't you all connected to the universe enough? No, they weren't, y'all. You got to remember, they were part of that cult, that sick, crazy cult, right? And they got to remember they were part of that cult. Because as long as they remember they were part of that cult, they should be able to understand everybody's judgment, everybody's criticism, because you really got to be on some low, sort of a lost vibe to join that tribe. You got to be on some low life to stay there. Your spirit got to be lost. Your spirit got to be hijacked to stay there in that cult with that dude who was a gay escort of 10 years. To stay there, you got to be on some, it's clear whatever you think you know, hasn't gotten into your blood enough for you to be able to actually see what's really going on. What's up? What's up? In order for them to even see what's going on. So your decision to join that cult and Neytiri's decision to sex that particular leader, that put her back so many miles and miles from a strong spirit. And it's crazy because you got so many people, y'all, who like to put themselves up. I am a goddess. Boom. I am a god. You got a lot of individuals who call themselves that. They were calling themselves that as members of Carbonation. And we know As members of Carbonation, there wasn't nothing goddess about y'all. There was nothing God about the dudes. But it just shows you a lot of people put the cart before the horse. A lot of people want you to respect something about them, whether you join a gang, whether you join a group. They want you to respect this other thing, whether it's their title, it could be some money that they got. They want you to respect that. It's almost like that saying where a dude tells a woman, "Here, let me give you more flowers so that would hide all the weeds I got in my garden." A dude would be giving a woman all these flowers, making her like feel real special and loved and cared for. He's just giving her flowers. But he's doing that to hide, the fact that his whole garden really got weeds in it that she's not going to spend time really analyzing, right? Because she's just caught up by the flowers. So y'all better be careful with these type of people that want you to believe that they are goddesses, right? Let me get a reading from the goddess, right? Because she's really gonna. You got a lot of pastors that really want you to believe that they have the Holy Spirit running through every single bone and blood vein of their body. And they may be the first one to put their hands on a woman in the congregation and maybe cheat on their wives, or be the first one to be sort of foul. You got a lot of people that need you to respect something else, when in reality, they aren't really worthy of that type of respect. So I don't really know if that young lady, Nate Terry, really thinks she's a goddess, but I think it's a high time. I think it's high time that sisters out here and the young goddesses out here and all these women and queens out here and empresses, you might want to get it together, man, because you got a lot of people calling themselves that, but that ain't nowhere what they is. It's almost like saying, we don't have to have no standard anymore. I'll just call myself something. It'll be that no matter what silly mistakes I make, no matter what wrong turns I make, where everybody was telling me it's real dark over there, it's a rapist over there. People are telling you, hey, this dude don't really fuck with you, but you're going to still go despite the warnings and all that. I mean, that's, like I said, to join carbonation and to stay there. And it might be even worse if you were the type of person to come and go back and come and go back and come and go back. Your spirit got to be on a real low level where you shouldn't be engaging in any kind of a relationship, mixing spirits with someone else. Because all you're doing is what? It's like putting in water that's not quite, fully filtered, mixing it in with holy water or Florida water and thinking that it's going to, give you some sort of relief. Nah, you still got some of that nasty ass, maybe Mississippi or Flint, Michigan tap water that was damn near brown colored. That's the color of some people's spirit, right? If we're all mostly water, you got a lot of people who have muddy waters in their as what makes up their spirit. Their spirit's muddy. So that means their vision is going to be cloudy in everything that they do. Now, a lot of people's visions is cloudy, but like I said, they want to sound like they goddesses. They want to sound like they gods. They want to be treated like they're goddesses. They might dress up, put on certain incense and shit, and start saging themselves, and they might really think they have some connection. But they don't. And it's just them that don't know that. It's like people who are really, really insane are the people that don't really quite know, or that they really insane. It's like the closer you get to who you are for real, the real truth of who you are, right? The easier life is going to be. For some people, your real truth is you ain't capable of being nobody's mother. For some people, your real truth is you ain't capable of being no mother. You ain't capable of being no father. But what? You start fucking, you start having kids because you want people to see you as a father, right? When you ain't really right, or you ain't really with the right woman, but you want to act like it because you want people to see you as a good father or a good husband, but you got to deal with her. and you're not really being true to yourself. You want to call yourself goddess. All of that is a result. It's like a flare up, a sexual, spiritually transmitted disease sometimes. And it manifests when people utter things like, I am a goddess, but they don't do goddess things. And we're not even saying you got to do goddess things. We're just saying you better not be getting caught doing like real heathen typical things that even some heathens would never do. You know what I mean? You can't get on that level. We ain't saying you really got to be a goddess, right? Because that could be subjective, whatever. That maybe that standard is too wild. But you can't be way over. You can't be no thought. You can't be over on that thought category like all your life. You know what I mean? You got to understand who we really are, and we got to be real careful about the lies that we tell ourselves. We got to be careful about the lies that because people are watching. People are saying, "Oh, so you got a PhD, huh, nigga? But you can't subtract figure out how many eggs you got if I take 6 out of a dozen. Oh, you got a PhD, but you don't know basic common sense. What's that? What's it? You gotta put that together. You want to claim to be spiritual at all? Yeah, don't ever join a carbonation. And if you join, damn, that's a couple of strikes on your whole thing. But if you join, don't stay there longer than a day. Because if you stay there longer than a day, that's like another strike. You still at carbonation up under a gay escort. That's your spirit taking strikes every fucking day. You're right there. And if you've ever sucked that dude's feet, either in private or live on camera, your spirit is way and it's not who you are, it's who you've allowed your spirit to be in that time, right? In that time. So when people are criticizing you, they're criticizing you in this time. And yes, it's a traumatic time, yes. But you got to realize that it's your spirit that brought you there. Your spirit that was not on solid foundation at all, for you to stay as a member of carbonation, even after a lot of the violence and stuff. Because it's not about information. Information, like Derek Rose said, information can be used to weaponize people. You got to have the right character. Who cares? You can break down, you know, what Aries is if you got it in your third house and all that. You can't see that you're entering into a certain type of relationship right after a traumatic experience. And you can't know that that's not going to work. But then you're like, hey, we're human. We make mistakes. And my question to you all is, do you all think certain mistakes way more than others? Do you think all sins are equal if you're in this belief of a sin and all that, what that means? Do you think all sins are equal? Because some people could say, hey, yeah, I was a member of carbonation, and some women would be like, yeah, I fuck nature boy. But don't act like you didn't have sex with somebody you didn't think you should have sex with. Is that the same? Just because I have sex with somebody I shouldn't be having sex with, that's not the same as you having sex with nature boy. You know what I mean? Because you're having sex with someone that you call your father, you call your God, and that you call your master teacher. That's different from me just having sex with somebody I'm not calling my master teacher. I'm not calling her my God. I'm not calling her my savior. So if you look at Neytiri and some of the interactions she had with this dude named Solar, it still looks, and we know the cases are different, but it still looks like she was way more submissive to a nature boy. It seems like she was way more, after a while she lost some respect, but she was going through it. She was trying to be basically applying and going through the orientation and repeated orientations to be his wife. She sort of just fell into Solar because she could, but she hasn't really been with one person that's been solid. It's all been sort of fraudulent spiritual people. It's all sort of been, now she's got Solar on her belt, and Solar was what? A chump, under Nature Boy, no matter how much he wants to say later that he was teaching Nature Boy all about the 369. I mean, whatever, dude. You were, for the most part, a flunky, a chump, and yeah, some sort of a punk compared to Nature Boy. And it's your ex, this Nature young lady, who still, with Nature Boy, she's shown way more respect despite all the abuse. She showed it. She showed a little bit way more respect, and with Solar, I don't think she respected Solar even more than she respected Nature Boy. I don't think so. And maybe Solar knew that. Maybe Solar really loved his wife on paper. Whoever he keeps talking about that makes Neytiri upset. He keeps talking about the whole time he had a wife on paper, and I guess that's Zoka, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. So so the breakup, how did it, I don't care. Is Solar talking about it? I hope not. It's usually the ladies that like to sort of capitalize on it, start talking about, hey, maybe I should try women on for size. They start talking all that stuff, you know what I mean? Meanwhile, they were the ones that made the bad choice. And then they look back and say, men ain't shit, but look at all of your poor choices. You ain't chose one man yet, and you're 38 years old. You ain't been with one man yet. For a lot of people, you know what I mean? For a lot of people. So the universe shows people what happens. I guess no matter what they claim to believe, there's some other power out there. There's some other train of thought that Neytiri still hasn't clicked in her head, because damn near every dude that she has chosen, you know, argues was a bad choice under certain circumstances and context that revealed itself that she shouldn't really be doing that right now. And the worst of them all is joining a cult like Carbonation, trying to compete and vie for that queen of the pack. That takes a certain other type of ego that she wasn't able to, you know, entertain with this dude named Solar. Solar's not Nature Boy, you know. Solar, you know, gets busy with trans women and like shrugs his shoulders. You know, there's some, maybe he's sort of done things with men. I don't know Solar, but anybody could have told him that she wasn't the best person to sort of wife up, and that wasn't the best time to wife up a Neytiri. No, Neytiri, I mean, in my view, right? In my view, since their whole thing was bastardized by the bastard, the devil's child Nature Boy, I think Neytiri could pretty much get off the cameras, man, and just go and just do whatever Yaya is doing. Neytiri has this thing where she wants to be out here in the camera. And now she's got this reputation that's preceding her. That her spirituality and her self-perception of a goddess, it's almost delusional, you know. And then maybe with Solar, this perception of himself as this unbelievable, great, wise guy, intelligent, smart, all these skills, somebody that a woman should really want, and all this other shit. He's got to relax with all that too. I'm the one that taught Nature Boy the 369. Nah, shut up, dude. Like, what woman would really want to sit down and deal with a Solar? She got to be out of her mind, especially if he was that close to really wanting to be Nature Boy. He was right, like he was really he wanted that power. He wanted to be so close to it. But he has a wife on paper that apparently he kept reminding Neytiri about. So on top of a lot of different things, maybe they didn't work, but I just wanted to show, again, a lot of people in conscious community, there's nothing conscious about you. A lot of y'all, man. A lot of y'all ladies, there's nothing goddess about you, like nothing. And and you go into your past, you'll be like, wow, that's even worse than I thought. But we're just saying, based on your moves right now, they aren't goddess type moves, right? You seem way more concerned with how you look. You seem way more interested in supporting your vanity, Neytiri, you seem way more interested in views and clicks and stature and status. And you seem way interested, too interested, in justifying all that with your motherfucking natal chart and saying, yeah, I am the type, I need to be front and center. I need to be, cut all that nonsense out because we don't think you know what you're talking about at all. You know, all of your moves have been horrible. Some people would call all of your moves horrible, right? Especially if you spent your time as a prostitute, as you say, outside in the streets. So you're obviously willing and ready, clearly, to prostitute yourself for Nature Boy. Prostituting, I mean, your spirit in that sense, which is much a deeper, a deeper crime on your own humanity, giving up your spirit to someone like that. It takes a lot. It takes it takes an eternity of sage. You know, really, it takes some real time and some real deep cleaning and some real detoxing because y'all are still latching on as if there was something like you need to hold on about this cult that you all were in. But like we said, people make mistakes, and now some people might want to capitalize on their mistakes and then say, "Hey, well, if one thing is true, you know I've been through a whole lot, and you know I made a whole lot of mistakes, so you can trust what I'm saying." Or it's the other way around. You made so many mistakes, and the type of mistakes you made while worshiping the type of thing that you were worshiping, that's on some whole other level. So I would relax with all the makeup, right? I would relax with all the wigs. If I was this Neytiri, if I had changed, I would relax. I would change. I would intentionally, because you are human. You aren't a slave to whatever you think your natal chart is. I would go against everything that I presented myself to be before. If I was Neytiri, I would present myself some total other way. I wouldn't try to keep looking like I need a wig on me or, every day trying to like be some sort of a teacher when you can't even teach yourself certain shit, right? So it's like, again, a lot of people put the cart before the horse and they want respect for their cart when they don't have a strong horse to push that cart. They want respect for a cart that somebody could buy or you could fake like it's your cart, but they have never trained that horse. So they put the cart before the horse, which the horse runs into the cart. And it's backwards living. You people who like to live off of your hindsight all the time. So when you break up like this, you want to sound smart somehow. When you go through breakups like this, some people come out and they start sounding smart, like they know how relationships work. They start giving people advice, some dumb shit, when we were the ones always giving y'all the advice. So these people go through these things and they're like, I got something to tell y'all. You know what I'm saying? Don't date nobody if all of y'all just went through something traumatic. And they trying to tell us some secret of life, but we were light years, right? Ahead of all of y'all carbonation people, even the people who don't even consider themselves spiritual. They were light years ahead of the filth that was carbonation. Light years spiritually. So how does it look, right? When someone in elementary is trying to act like they got senior authority, people with elementary spirit trying to walk around and act as if they got that PhD vibration for you. You see what I'm saying, Tiffany? That's the worst part about these sexually transmitted diseases. They got it from Nature Boy, who again said he gave himself certain names. Master Teacher, Nature Boy, Tahuti. He said it. He gave himself the names for two reasons: to give him something to work for or towards, and to get respect from people. Because, like, right, you call yourself Jay-Z, you want to call yourself Gotti because you think people will respect your name. He always talked about, why can't I call myself Jesus? Why can't I get that same respect? If you're going to respect and say a rapper's name or entertainer or a movie star or an Italian name, why can't I be master teacher? Something to look for, something that you would hope someone else sees in you. But you ain't got no training. You ain't got no real respect in the industry. You don't have no elder that you can call on or point to have to who has guided you. I'm talking about some of y'all ain't even got no grandmothers you talk about. So you got these individuals who are really like fruit, little fruit, that's not even fruit. They got fruit. This fruit is way far from the tree, man. The fruit forgot about the roots, and they think that a fruit can just be its own. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, y'all. You got people trying to do things that they cannot do. How, Sway? And they never take the advice in a timely manner. They always find out later, again, in hindsight, what the real deal is and who they really need to be and what they really need to be doing to get healthy first. Because I'm telling y'all, everywhere I go, no matter who it is I know, my first thing is, how healthy is this person mentally? You could be a friend, you could be a colleague, you could be a coworker, you could be a channel holder, you could be a dude at the register anywhere. You could be somebody at the garage, in the studio. You could be a regular person talking on the street. My mind is always going to go, how, where is that person mentally? You know what I'm saying? Bottom line. And then maybe it'll go to how much have they done to really take care of their mental situation? How much have they done to really take care of their physical situation, spiritual situation? That's what you kind of really want to know, up front. If you can. Some people don't even think about it, like maybe the natives, or some people just go through life not thinking. They just have a feeling moment and they just feel their way through life, and it doesn't feel good until after the fact. It doesn't feel bad until after the fact. You realize, wow, this whole time I was doing something demonic with a demon, and the whole time I thought it was good. Like, that's basically what it's boiled down to. You got so many people in this American culture, whatever, that they consume things that taste so good. They eat things that taste so good. Ladies, they grab them because they look so good. But guess what? It ain't nothing on the inside, or it's something else. If you grab a lady because you think she looks so good because she's got this whatever, and next thing you know, uh-oh, you got a dick. You got a dick. Because you didn't investigate. You didn't bother. You're just the type that operates on the surface. And you might look at other people as dumb as well, right? Like the carbonation, they thought everybody else was dumb. And it's the belief, and they believe that way, it's because people tend to just operate on the surface of things. They don't go deeper. They go by how somebody looks. You ask them, why'd you join carbonation? This one dude said, oh, I just liked this guy because he didn't have a shirt on and he sounded rebellious. They didn't do no deep research on who that person was. So some people are careless. Some people know that they're careless. Some people are crazy, but some people know that they're crazy. Some people, you can tell, man, they are really on that path. And they don't make the simple mistakes no more. They don't talk no simple, silly talk no more. You can tell in their day-to-day, in very significant ways, that they are on some other shit. Nobody ever thought that about anybody from carbonation, except for Phoenix, except for the few people who ended up showing they could be about something else. But Neytiri, what are we about? You know what I mean? Trying to look good on camera with the wigs, trying to make people think you're like some master of the tarot cards. You're showing that your life needs work. How you go about when your vision and your decisions needs work. You need to go out here, find somebody to do tarot cards on your ass. You need to go out here, find an elder woman who you respect that can pretty much put you on a regular path of, you know, understanding who you are and not who you want people to see you as. And that's the interesting part, because a lot of people want to be seen a certain way. They want to be seen, or they want to be affiliated with something that's serious, you know what I mean? And they neglect to make themselves serious. They neglect to really invest in themselves. And you hear a lot of women, sub St. Hudson, and you hear a lot of women saying that about certain relationships too. That, and I don't know if they want the men to feel bad, because some of these men didn't really ask the ladies to go so hard. But after a while, some ladies go back and they look and they're like, damn, I went so hard for that nigga and he ain't do shit for me. I went so hard for that nigga and he ain't do shit for me. But I'm willing to bet he wasn't doing shit for you up front. I'm willing to bet you probably thought that you can get him to do some extra special shit for you. You probably didn't do as much research as you could have, you know, to really get into whether or not this dude is who he is. Ladies and gentlemen, be very careful, especially with spiritual sounding people, because they too make mistakes. And then they'll try to hit you with something like, I never said I was perfect. And you like, what? What you trying to hit us with that for? They'll be like, I never said I'm perfect. I'm just as flawed as anybody else. Yeah, but you also want respect as a pastor, nigga. Or people will be like, I never said I'm perfect. Nigga, we not asking your ass to be perfect. We asking you, can you get a C, motherfucker? Can you get us a C minus, bitch nigga? We not asking really for A plus 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 plus, but they like to take it there to shadow, to overshadow the fact that they ain't even on the B minus level, nigga. They ain't even on the B minus level, nigga. We just trying to see if you can get a B minus, nigga. You know what I mean? Or is you just another mediocre spirit, right? And that was like one of the words that my mother used in my house growing up. And I was like, damn, that word felt like a curse word sometimes. Like the whole thing was, you don't want to be mediocre. You don't want to be mediocre. You know, I go in one school where motherfuckers is passing and they like, yeah, I passed, nigga. Fuck you, nigga. I passed though. Look at you, you still staying back. I passed, nigga. And the whole report card is D, 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 C minus, D. You got somebody over here in this other school and they got a C on something, it will be the end of their whole life. These motherfuckers get a C over here in this area, under this, in this family over here, they get a C on something, that's mediocre. You know, the word sounds worse than it really is, but mediocre means just really, you just average. Ain't nothing real, you know, you're just mediocre. And that's exactly what you're dealing with for the most part, probably in a lot of different groups, but especially the spiritual, the conscious community group. You're still dealing with people with mediocre spirits who've performed in mediocre ways in very critical moments of life where you would think that they would at least be like an honors student on this certain aspect of life by now. You would think somebody in their 30s, you know, you would think they would know certain things. But again, age ain't nothing but a number. And as you all know, it's like, come on, let's just stop the charade. I'm beginning to think that the Western world or the United States itself produces hypocrites. I'm beginning to think it's so bad, you got hypocrite in people's genes that is passed on from generation to generation, where you're just talking a bunch of shit, talking about all the church you go to, talking about all the Bible you read, knowing good and well the real deal is, you know, you's just a glorified heathen right now. You's just a glorified heathen or a glorified type of person that be sinning all the time and then be pointing at other people. Don't go out here and sin. And you be the main ones living in it. And it is what it is, because ultimately no matter what you believe, there's just an ultimate judgment that you might get later on. And it's been that way for a long time, to the point where now it's low key a part of the culture that people no longer fight against. There's certain aspects of the culture where you develop certain habits over time that, although it's deeply ingrained, it feels good, man. Or you feel like it's your culture, so you got to stick with it. A lot of people got problems with soul food, man, because a lot of people believe it does not really feed your soul, that it doesn't really electrify your soul. Some people say soul food could lead you into a hospital bed if you keep eating it, but it's like, whatever. That's a separate conversation. There is an issue with obesity here in this country. Yes, there is issues, seriously, very heavy, unaddressed issues of mental trauma. That's why I'm dead serious. Everywhere I go, anywhere, in my own family sometimes, we've with myself, always want to know, what is their mental situation though? What have they gone through? You know what I mean? And if they start violating you, it shows you that they're not asking those same questions about you. So you got to step up your game and be like, hold up, nigga. There's not going to be no violation like that. What's going to happen is we're going to deal with each other how we deal with each other, or there's always going to be some static. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to try to live on your own line, and you don't want to try to veer off of, you want to try to be your own person. You want to try to be in touch with the moment that you're in. And you want to continue to open up and listen to the elders and get the guidance from them, and stop really thinking that you already got it figured out. Stop thinking that you're already a goddess. Stop thinking that you're already Zeus. Stop thinking that you're already, right, XYZ, X, Y, Z. Well, you ain't really like that yet. These are things you're just hoping to reach, right? Just a nickname type of thing, type of situation. Nothing personal, right? Nothing that really sticks. Because when you call yourself goddess, do you take that personally? You want people to accept you as a goddess personally, maybe, respect. But do you take it personal that you are a goddess? And if so, how does it show? Oh, because you sage your crib? Oh, because what? You listen to the gong music and sit there in a lotus position? I mean, what the fuck? You actually have to show a body of work that you are following a certain spirit that is untouchable, a spirit that is, indefatigable, a spirit that is, as Mike Tyson would say, you just can't crush this spirit. You can't break my soul. You can't fool me. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. Some people keep making the same foolish relationship mistakes and always fooling themselves the whole time. Delusional. Thinking that you're some goddess when you've got bodies and poor decisions that don't reflect nothing about a goddess at all. It might reflect a goddess more than anything. And some people I notice like to put makeup on their thottery. Some people like to put makeup on their thottery. Some people like to, cover it up or put some enhancements. Get yourself some accessories on your thottery just to make it look better than what it really, really is, and still hasn't been addressed. But hopefully we'll get it done, man. Hopefully people will understand who they are at that moment. Like Nori. Does he understand who he was in that moment when you don't see any other videos of a Kanye West interview being taken down? But you got to be in every single moment and not be caught up in any nonsense, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're going to call yourself a goddess, if you're going to call yourself God, who knows all about love and yada, 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 there are certain things that come along with it. And you're not going to be able to get away, with making the type of below average in terms of difficulty mistakes as someone who doesn't claim no spirit, making the same type of mistakes as someone who has no connection at all to no natal chart, nothing. But you're making the same mistakes. They ain't never, don't know nothing about no spirituality. They don't know nothing about no nothing. They ain't watched nobody's videos over here. But y'all two are making the same low-level mistakes. And still trying to call yourself goddess. No, impossible. Stop lying to yourself. Why you keep on lying? It's the worst person to lie to is yourself. So you got a lot of liars out here. You got a lot of people who, over exaggerate things out here. You got a lot of people who add some puffery and then they blow themselves up more than what they really is. So I just want to point that part out, especially in this type of a group like Carbonation, where people claim that they are gods and the others in Babylon ain't shit. Where they thought they were smarter, all us talked about it, they got to be put in their place, really where their place is. And they're still all the way in the negative when it comes to when it comes to passing spiritual tests and having a strong spirit and all that, enough to emanate and really help, you know what I mean? It's still way back in the negative, hasn't even gotten to zero yet, let alone some goddess level. No, stop spreading your spiritually transmitted disease of nature boy, which is, telling people you're of a spirit, telling people you follow, and telling people while your actions clearly show something totally different. And this is your boy Marwan. Thank y'all for coming true here earlier than I set up to hear this whole thing about this young lady in the cult. And I'm thinking the lawsuit or the criminal case with Nature Boy is still moving forward. I haven't even followed up on any of that. But make sure you leave a comment in the comments. Let me know how you felt when you heard when you heard the saddest news of ever, when you just felt the earthquake and your spirit shake when Naturian Solar, or at least when Naturi announced and did a whole video that I did not watch, but she did a whole video talking, and the T, I guess, recorded it, talking about, I guess, yeah, she's single now, and people asking questions. And it is what it is, y'all. This is your boy Marwan, here at Mind Over Matter TV. I'll be back soon. Peace.